is Harley Combes, and today we will be discussing Islamic radicalization in its entirety within the context of the Quran and other books of Islamic scripture, as well as a context of history added into it. I hope that you find this video interesting, or at the very least it pushes you to find your own research of this subject. The first interview we have coming up, we talk with Army veteran Michael Chapman about what his opinions are on what the radicals' interpretation is of the Quran, and the history behind it as well. What would you say is the radicals' interpretation of the Quran?
Wahhabism. Alright, my understanding of Wahhabism is that it was the version of Islam that's analogous to the Westboro Baptists, or the most awful Protestant Ku Klux Klan style church you can find. But during the time the Saudis were consolidating their kingdom on the peninsula, they made an alliance that has served them a few different times with the Wahhabis, and in return for that money they funded Wahhabist clerics that have in turn funded fundamentalist Islam all through the region. What exactly their interpretations of the Quran, which I haven't read, so I haven't read essays on it either, but the way I understand politics and power of Wahhabism is that the Saudis sell oil to us, but to maintain their control over that oil, they have to fund these schools of thought that in turn fund the problems everywhere else in the region.
Coming up in this next interview, we talk about what the Quran's position of non-believers will be with Dean of Global Education, Wade Watkins, as well as how it applies to radicalization within the Islamic world.
What would you say, sorry, these things aren't really fitting well. What is the Quran's position on non-believers?
Okay, again, I think it depends who you ask. I think one of the biggest problems is the fundamentalists or the radicalized clerics, okay, these imams, these local leaders, they tend to, what I affectionately say, bastardize some of those verses. And just like I said, it just feels like a Christian interpreting, okay, let's stone all homosexuals. Well, that's biblical, and that's Leviticus. Okay, but again, it's not something we do because you have the New Testament that is sort of taken over and, it's preaching about love. Well, the Quran is often the same way. And I think one thing you have to understand is, 99.9% of Muslims feel that, people of the book, which are Christians and Jews, they are believers, and they're not non-believers, and they're not infidels. And so, one of the things that the Quran states very clearly is that if you take one human life, one innocent human life, it is the same example of killing all humanity. And that's one of the greatest sins, and you'll burn in hell for it. And so, most Muslims believe that, but you have these radicalized clerics who, like I said, kind of take that, and they just like you see many Christian evangelicals or whatnot. I mean, they do the same thing. I mean, they can kind of tweak a verse. Maybe they leave off the next part of a verse, and a lot of that is because of power. They're trying to get a following.
And the thing you have to understand about radicalized Islam is that it's about politics and power and greed, not necessarily religion. They use it, they abuse it to inspire and provoke, but they're using it, in my humble opinion, incorrectly. Only a small fraction, tiny fraction, of Muslims are radical or terrorists. It just so happens that a lot of terrorists in today's news just happen to claim to be Islam.
In this next interview, of contrary opinion, I would say, we have Cooper Thomason discussing Islamic extreme fundamentalism and how it applies to Islamic radicalization, and the very term in its essence within the context of Islamic scripture.
Due to them carrying out the words of Muhammad, or is it due to just fringe groups? Is that what you're asking?
Yes.
Okay, well, the thing about Islam is that there's no fringe groups, exactly, because there's not a canon in Islam. There's no central authority in Islam. There's not a Catholic Church, as Christianity used to have, where you would have the papal bulls and all these other things that they would come down and say, this is what our scripture means. You don't have that in Islam. You've never had it. You've had general consensus in the community, and the general consensus in the community is considered unchangeable. Once there is a consensus, you don't change it. It's actually considered illegal and improper to interpret it according to your own independent reasoning. And so what you see in these fringe groups is they're going back to what the old traditions of how the communities in the past have interpreted it and saying, oh, well, they have a perfectly valid argument to be made that we need to go out and bomb people, and we need to go out and wage war against the entire world until there is no religion but Allah. And these aren't just fringe groups and they're going crazy and they have no basis in any of the Quran or any of the Islamic traditions. These people, they are based in the Islamic traditions. They aren't just making up their own things. They're just going back to what they had in the past, and they're saying, these are our traditions, these are how they've been interpreted, this is the case that I have to be made that we should go out and kill people, and they're gaining followings because they have legitimacy to their case. If you believe in Islam, you can actually go with what they believe.
So in that case, it would be rather fundamentalism rather than this tiny radical minority to which the news and media so often like to speak of.
They are a minority, but the difference between them being just radicals and them being a minority is that for them to be radicals and just only radicals, that kind of implies that they're wrong, that they're misinterpreting the Quran, that they don't actually have the true Islam. But that's not how it is. They are a minority, yes, but that doesn't mean that they're not the actual way that Islam should be practiced. They have legitimacy to their cause, and since there's no central authority to discredit them, there's nobody to say that they don't.
And for the final interview, we have Mr. Holston, an AP US history teacher, whom we discuss how diverse Islam is amongst its adherents. So, how diverse would you say the beliefs of Islam are amongst Muslims?
Well, I think it's like any other religion, even amongst Christianity, you have different interpretations, different beliefs, different practices. So it's no different from any other religion in the sense that there's a lot of diversity within the common beliefs.
All right. Okay. So would you say it's as diverse as Protestant Christianism?
Absolutely.
All right.
There's lots of different interpretations depending on cultures around the world, experiences, and interpretations.
Well, as we come to the conclusion of this documentary, I think it's fair to say that, as Mr. Holston says, sorry about that, the beliefs amongst Muslims are quite diverse. Now, he may argue that they're more diverse than, or equivalent to the diversity of that of Christian Protestants. Now, I, for one, would disagree with that. And that's all right. And we can come to a discussion of debate in which the best idea comes out on top. And that is the fundamental drive behind what moves society forward. Which is why I mainly am here to criticize the ideas behind Islam and different ways it's interpreted, to see that the best idea comes out on top. The best idea, so to speak, when talking about Islam. And this is the way that society progresses. As Carl Jung once pointed out, ideas have people. And it is those ideas in which society becomes upon within the popular consensus, and that civilizations grow on. I'm Harley Combest, and this is the Harley Combest Show.